let's I want to share a little memory because I
Ooh.
want to go down memory lane a little bit further here before we start getting into.
I might know this memory.
Well, I think you remember the memory. It was in Park City.
Yes.
Okay. So I had the pleasure of being able to join. Chef Katrina was at a mastermind in Park City. Some amazing people coming together. And I had a chance, I got invited to have a chance to come out. And we went out there. I went out there and I think that's really when I got to know you.
Yes.
Because one of the days,
we went shopping.
We went shopping. That's right. So we started picking up ingredients. Like we actually picked up ingredients because I've spent some time in the kitchen as well. Picked some ingredients and we came back and we cooked for everybody in the mastermind. And we made homemade pizzas. And we created and we're like, what should this one be? And that's right, this way. And I would make a suggestion. She made a suggestion. And we made, I believe, 7 different types of pizzas that day. And it was awesome. It was awesome. And what was unique and really the story behind this is that he has 2 people with a understanding of kitchens and cooking, not to your level, but I did play my role in the kitchen as well. And but we came together and we took our talents and created something masterful. And we and very much mentored, right? Man, guide this, do this. And I think a lot of people right now is they feel that they're alone in the kitchen. They feel alone and they're almost in a way thrown into someone else's kitchen. You ever go to someone else's house? You're like, oh, this is where the spoons should be.
Yes.
Oh, that's not spoons. This is where the plate should be. Oh, that's not plates. And that's where we're at right now. Yeah. Right?
We are
in someone else's kitchen.
We are.
Right? And how did you guide yourself to go from a chef to becoming the foremost expert in Pinterest?
I screwed up a lot.
So a lot of bad meals.
A lot of bad meals. That's a. I mentioned usually, you're very green to the internet, right? The internet is a tool. And I just want to kind of address that one inside of this conversation piece, because it is important to understand that, learning the internet is not to master it. Please, for the love of all, do not try to master all of the internet, because it'll never, ever happen, right? There's a lot of information on there. Go to trusted resources. You have this amazing community to lean into, right? You're now part of this Stimulus Summit group, right? You have an amazing group. I mean, ask questions in there. See what people recommend. Throw some ideas out, right? Because this is a community that's going to be supporting ideas, supporting the next future generation. When we talk about how do you take an idea of being in the kitchen, how do you take a recipe and apply it to the world of internet marketing? It's a lot of stumbling, right? I recreated this recipe that I put together for penning for profit multiple different ways. I mean, if you had seen my training, 4 years ago, it's when I first got started.
No, I saw them.
Right. It was definitely like, okay, right. But that's where I was at. But see, the thing is there's always somebody there to match me. I didn't have to be the foremost expert. I had a group that was following me because I was the most closely related to where they're at, right? I think sometimes the harder we have, as the more exposure we get to a platform, the more we use it, the more we're seen at this higher level, and the less we're believed in what we can do, because we're not as relatable as the person that's in the struggle with you, right? I'm telling you right now, it's the hardest thing to do. But I was selling a Pinterest course, and I've done this even with blogging. I sold a blogging course, Domingo, when I created my blog. I sat there and recorded myself putting together my blog for the 6th time, because the first 5 times are horrible. But I finally figured out if I was going to do it a 6th time, I was going to record myself doing it. And the reason I did that was because the language I was using was going to be the closest to that of a person trying to figure out how to blog online, how to get started. I can never, ever, even right now, recreate the course for the same language that I used, because my knowledge of that particular field is now exponential. I speak at a higher level, right? And I have to remind myself that when you talk about, Pinterest or a widget or online marketing, that sometimes the easiest person to follow is the person that's just getting started. So for those of you that are like, I don't know what I can sell or what I can do, I promise you right now, and I'm getting chills just thinking about this.
Oh, am I?
If you were to record yourself right now doing anything, setting up your Facebook post, getting yourself ready to go on YouTube, setting up your first Pinterest account, and you sold it even for $7, people would buy it. And the reason for that is because you're right there with them. You just did it moments before they did. You didn't have to be the smartest kid in the room. You just had to be a step ahead of them. We talk about this whole world we're in right now. Parents are at home teaching and everything else. And I was talking with a friend of mine. He says, the teacher's work is harder now because they actually have to prep for class. Because before in the classroom, when they're in there with the kids, they just have to be a chapter ahead. They had to be a chapter ahead of what they were teaching. They just had to refresh the knowledge for themselves and then reteach it. Do you realize how powerful that is to take on that information and then reteach it? That skill will help you develop that muscle, that brain muscle, right? That we've been talking about that this whole summit, right? How do you build that resistant muscle? How do you help, if times are getting tough, what's the first thing you do? Mm-hmm. Right? You want to know the first thing I did when April 1st happened? Actually, end of March, when we went into lockdown, the first thing I did is I said, I'm going to teach people how to start a Pinterest business account. And for the whole month of April, I gave an hour to, a day, right? I was running this and all I was doing is teaching people how to set up a Pinterest business account. That was it, right? It was as simple as that made the biggest and most profound difference for people. Because I was willing to open up my computer. I could share some basic information that I knew about Pinterest. And then what I had them do is I had somebody raise their hand, which is the scariest thing to do. And I said, I want you to share your screen with me. I'm going to walk you through setting up your Pinterest business account. Like, it is that simple, that kind of time that will make the biggest difference for people, right? You don't have to be the genius. I'm telling you, every single one of you that's watching this right now, all you have to do, it's as simple as setting up a Zoom account. So Zoom is free for 45 minutes, right? You could sit there and invite people on there, find one person and walk them through how to set up something, right? If you know how to knit, if you know how to put together a meal, anything. You literally, that's what you could do right now. That's you getting out of your way and getting into the world of being of service. And I've had so much fun doing that. I actually relearned Pinterest. It actually drove my passion back for Pinterest back up again, right? It made me excited about doing this because I started interacting with the people that haven't played on this platform. I've been on this platform since you had to put in an email address before it got to promoted pins, before you could run ads on it. But, back when it was just a very, pinnable place to be, right? But watching people get and learn Pinterest, that excitement was contagious. That's what I invite you guys to take a look at. It's like, where can you just share your knowledge? Because you'll make the biggest difference doing that. I can see you looking. Domingo's got like this whole experience going on. What are you experiencing over there? I just wanted to hear it now.
You have, as you're talking, like, I had an aha moment. Sometimes you do things and you don't know why you're doing it. And first of all, I want to acknowledge the fact that, wow, what you just dropped, right? Because you're right. It's just staying ahead. I don't know Pinterest, but if you walk me through how to set it up, you're an expert. You're an expert. And people are looking for that guidance. And you just have to remember, though, you don't have to say, let me break down E equals MC squared. Now, you got the E equals this and the MC, and you're like, people are like, okay, I have no idea what he's saying. I don't relate. But what's interesting, and that's what really got me. That's why I was smirking, because when I teach things, I go into a little bit more detail. I walk it through, and I never really understood that you just never have to lose the fact that the other person is looking for guidance, and you can't lose them along the way. You can't. It's like almost like leading a person with their eyes closed.
Mm.
You don't walk them into a wall. Well,
you could. If it depends on the friendship, the family, how you're feeling.
On a Friday night with a few drinks, sure, no problem. But it's almost like that. If you think about it, it's like someone saying, I need help. How do I cross this river? You don't say, just walk. You're fine. Just walk across. But you didn't tell them that there's actually a bridge just like 10 feet away.
Yeah. And
I love the fact that there's people watching this right now, and they're in their heads telling themselves, it's just too complicated. I don't know how to do this. But even though they're the expert, everyone right now who's watching this, everyone who is going to see the recording is an expert in something I don't know. And I'm seeking that knowledge, and I can't find that knowledge unless you put it out.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just so powerful. Do you guys, for those of you that are watching either live or recording, do you guys get this? That is extremely, extremely powerful, what you just shared, Katrina.